Okay, so why am I sitting in a towel and robe on the floor of my child's bedroom? And the reason is because we are talking about the Olympus TG-5. And this camera, one of its main selling points is the fact that it is waterproof. It's part of the TG line from Olympus, so it's tough. It's extremely tough, and I can attest to that fact because this is the camera that I give to my kids, and I do not worry about it breaking. If you can see, there is like a significant amount of damage on the back. This is just a screen protector. It's a glass screen protector, but this camera's been pretty banged up. And it works like a charm. I have no concerns about my kids manhandling it. And this camera came out, I believe it was 2017. I really should have looked this up prior to recording, but I got this camera in 2017. So I think that was the year it came out, or maybe 2016. I tend to not buy things immediately when they come out. But I got this for a trip with my daughter, who was 3 at the time, knowing that we were going to Tahiti, where my father lives, and we were going to be diving and going in the water, and I really wanted to be able to capture some of that of her in the water. And I didn't want to carry a lot of gear because I was also solo tripping with her. So I wanted one camera that could kind of do it all, and this camera fit the bill beautifully. It's a ridiculously capable camera with a lot of features, and to be totally honest, I scratched the surface with my 2 weeks. I probably needed like a month or two with this camera to really delve into all of its features. Rob Trek did a bunch of TG-5 camera videos that I will link here or somewhere for you to be able to, why is this tracking on my mic? For you to be able to watch, and he gets into much more of the specifications and testing and all of that sort of stuff. Mine will be very high level because that's how I use it. I haven't used it in a very intricate fashion. I just kind of wanted to see from a day-to-day, like everyday carry capability, what it was capable of. So the reason I bought this camera, as I mentioned, was for a trip. I think it's absolutely perfect for that kind of a thing. It's definitely a camera that, you know, it has a zoom range. I think it's like 24 to 105 or something like that. And it has GPS capability. It has Wi-Fi. It records 4K video. It is a smaller sensor, so keep that in mind. It's not like a low light camera necessarily, but it is an f2 to f4.9 lens. So on the wide end, it's very good low light capability for, you know, a compact. It has face detect. It has a very snappy autofocus. One thing though, that water housing or this like lens that goes over the camera is like a plastic. I'm sure like a very hard plastic. And what I have to say about that is it gives the images kind of an interesting effect, like almost a Holga effect. It's very sharp, particularly on the wide end, like I mentioned, but it has just like these little bits of chromatic aberration or distortion, particularly on the edges of frame. It's kind of hard to, like, you would have to pixel peep to really notice it, but it does give it an overall quality of feeling a little bit more toy camera-esque. Again, it's subtle, but I notice it because I tend to like that effect. And then when I put, you know, my post-processing on the raw images, again, I shoot raw, so that's how I'm using this camera. When I take those raw images into my, you know, post editor, which was Lightroom for these, I, you know, would apply my color correction and all of that sort of stuff, and it would have a filmic sensibility, and I actually really enjoyed it for that. So like just keeping it in my purse was a fun way to use it these past 2 weeks. The reds and blues, Olympus just gets these colors right, in my opinion. I've used Sony, I've used Canon, I've used Olympus, now, which is kind of a recent evolution for me. I'm going more and more Olympus everything. Like I'm shooting this on a Sony a7C, which I am selling to MPB in a matter of hours because I just realized I don't need all of these modern capabilities. I'm very happy with my old cameras, and this channel has really proven that to me. As I've been delving deeper and deeper into my old cameras and traveling with them, I'm satisfied with that. I don't need to pour a lot of money into new tech. It's just not what really I require for my use case. My use case is family, travel, casual user, and frankly, I really like tinkering and doing the post. So I'm changing the effect of these images anyway, and I'm making them feel more analog, so I don't need the fanciest thing. It's actually too sharp and too clean for me. I prefer a little noise, and I prefer a little bit of image, you know, softness, if you will. I like sharp photo. It's a very weird angle, but anyway, that being said, these 12 megapixels is perfectly sufficient for me, particularly for a travel camera. It does do 4K and 120 frames per second in 1080. I don't use a lot of, or I should say, I don't shoot a ton of video, so this isn't really a video-centric spec that I'm paying that much attention to, but it's nice to have if you're like on vacation, you want to do a beautiful romantic beach scene, or you're underwater, and however you want to use it, it's nice that it's there. It does shoot RAW, as I mentioned, and it has one thing that I really love in a camera, which is levels. So it has a vertical and horizontal level, so you can really see, you know, how to get the least amount of distortion in your shot. And it has GPS, which I mentioned. I don't use that, but again, as a travel camera, that's awesome. Like, if I were to utilize that more and do more trekking and all that sort of stuff, less casual family stuff, I would definitely implement that into my workflow because I like to see where I've been. And it's a crazy macro camera. I think that's what most people know this camera for, is its macro capabilities. It can go into like super macro and get insane detail on stuff. Not really something that I do, but really nice to know that it exists. And there is an attachment. I saw some kind of adapter for like macro lighting to sort of, you know, add additional light if you're getting that close. So you're not just relying on the on-camera flash. So that's really cool. It does have a kind of a short battery life, so that's just something to keep in mind. Maybe have a backup spare if you're gonna use it extensively or go heavy on the video. Certainly if you're gonna go heavy on the video, have a backup. For my purposes, I really never ran out of the battery, and I would just charge by USB. And the high burst speeds are crazy. So this is one of those pro capture cameras where you can, and maybe apologies if I'm getting that wrong, but you can do like, you press the shutter and then it's capturing action that happened before you press the shutter by a number of frames. So you're just kind of guaranteed not to miss the action. Again, not something I use, but a very cool feature to have, particularly like you're traveling, someone's going, you know, cliff jumping or you're parachuting or something like that, and you have like a high action sequence that you need to capture. That would certainly be a tool I'd want to use in that situation. I've mentioned this before in other videos, but 4:3 is my favorite aspect ratio. This does shoot native 4:3 because it is still in this sort of Olympus range. It's not a micro four thirds sensor, but it still favors the 4:3 aspect ratio. So again, for me, this matches with my micro four thirds and my 4/3 cameras. And when I'm not shooting 4/3 cameras, I'm cropping 4/3 off of my, you know, 2.3s, 4.6s, whatever the native aspect ratio is, for instance, something like the Sony a7C. So it just fits into my ecosystem nicely. It has image stabilization, so that's, again, great. You won't be able to freeze action in low light necessarily, but if you have a night shot or something, you'll be able to handhold it much longer than you would otherwise. The corners do get kind of soft and fuzzy, and again, I attribute that to the coating or the sort of front of the lens, which is kind of plasticed in for the waterproofing, but not something super noticeable. You might notice that if you were printing. Hi, this is my daughter Ella. Ella, do you like this camera? Do you use this camera?
Yes.
Yeah. It's a good one, right? She always says, Mom, where's your water camera? I want to use it. And you used it this morning and you got some great shots. So in short, a very capable camera that can do a lot of cool things. And would I recommend it? I would. One thing it doesn't do for me is inspire me. That's the only thing I will say. It is a point and shoot. It is a do everything camera. It is a camera to keep in your bag and have with you at all times. You can go underwater, you can drop it, you can shoot video, you can shoot photos, but it won't get you jazzed to take pictures, which is kind of what I look for. It's a huge part of what I want in a camera. It does have good ergonomics. It has a little grip on the side, but it won't necessarily be the camera that you get up in the middle of the night and go, what am I going to shoot tomorrow? So, you know, if that's important to you, you're probably not shooting a point and shoot camera like this. You're probably going for something with a bit more manual control, and a little bit, something that makes you work harder for it, right?
No idea.
No idea. So there you go. That is the Olympus TG-5 and what I have to think about it. Do you own this camera? Do you have thoughts? Put the comments in the comment section below. And now for the drawing of the next camera. I forgot the box. 1 minute. Okay, so the drawing of the next camera. Ella, do you want to do this? Do you want to come draw the next camera? Will you pick this out for me? Come here. All right, close your eyes and pick one piece of paper, just one. Okay, open it up. Come sit on my lap. Wait, we already did that one. That's the Olympus E300. Pick again. Okay, no, you don't have to put it back in. Just put it on the ground. She's picking.
Yeah.
Is that just one? Here, come sit up here. Oh my gosh, this is exciting. Oh, guys, I am very excited for this. This is the Konica C35 35mm film camera. I don't know the year. It's a 70s rangefinder film camera that I inadvertently discovered after having the, oh gosh, my memory is failing me right now. But it's a wonderful camera. And so we are going to be flipping to film. That will be my next review, a film review of the Konica C35. Stay tuned for that one. And we'll see you next time. Bye.